Are you tired of getting tangled up in complicated grammar rules? Well, today we're going to unpack a super simple but really powerful hack for understanding those long, confusing verb phrases in English. I'm telling you, it's going to change how you see sentences forever.
Have you ever just stared at a sentence with a long chain of verbs and your brain just kind of goes blank? Yeah? If that's you, you're not alone. It's a super common problem. But believe me, the solution is surprisingly easy.
Just look at this monster of a phrase. Must have been being repaired. I mean, it looks intimidating, right? Like you'd need some advanced degree to figure it out. But I promise, by the end of this, a phrase like this is going to look crystal clear. So let's call this what it is: the verb phrase problem. These long chains of words, they really feel like they're designed to be confusing, but they actually follow a pretty logical pattern. And you know what? We're about to crack the code. Okay, here it is, the big secret. When you see one of these long verb phrases, just ignore everything in the middle for a second. Seriously, all the most important information you need is hiding in plain sight, right at the beginning and at the very, very end. This is the heart of what we're going to call the tail end strategy. And this simple strategy, it's got a name: the head and tail rule. Just think of a verb phrase like a coin. You know, it's got two sides, a head and a tail. And understanding what each side does is the key to unlocking the whole meaning. Now, this is the core idea right here. The head, that first word, it tells you the speaker's opinion or their feeling about something. It's their personal take. But the tail, the very last word, that gives you the fact of the situation, what's actually happening. So really, it's opinion versus reality. So the head is all about what's going on inside the speaker's head. You know, words like should, can, must. They don't actually describe the action itself. They describe the speaker's attitude towards it. Are they asking for permission, feeling a sense of duty, just exploring an option? That's what the head tells you. And here's the other half of the puzzle, the tail. This is where you find out what's really going on. If that last word ends in ing, I want you to picture a movie, something dynamic and in motion. Someone is doing something. But if it ends in ed, I want you to picture a photograph. It's static, the action is done, and you're just looking at the finished result.
Okay, so we've got the head and the tail covered, but you're probably wondering, what about all those words that are just sandwiched in between? Well, they're not just filler. They're like little bridge words, and they add some really important layers about time and progress.
Let's break down the two big ones you'll see in the middle: being and been. Think of being like a live news report. It's happening right now, it's in progress, it's live action. Been, on the other hand, is kind of like a history book. It tells you that something has been happening over a stretch of time, adding up from the past all the way to this very moment.
You know, theory is one thing, but seeing it work in the real world is what really makes it stick. So let's put the head and tail rule to the test with some actual examples. This is where it's all gonna click. First up, let's really zoom in on the tail. We're going to start with ing, so you can really get a feel for that dynamic, in-the-moment energy it brings to a sentence.
So take a simple phrase, I'm running. The head, am, just connects me to the action. But the real story? It's in the tail, running. That ing immediately paints a picture, doesn't it? Someone is in motion, maybe they're sweating on a treadmill. It's happening right now. Okay, let's switch gears. Now we're going to look at a tail that ends in ed. Just notice how the whole feeling of the phrase instantly changes from in motion to it's complete. Now look at I've finished it. The tail is finished. That ed sound is like a big, satisfying period at the end of a sentence. It signals finality. The situation is over. The mental image isn't someone working, it's that amazing feeling you get after the work is done, like checking that last thing off your to-do list and finally leaning back in your chair. It's a result, not a process. Okay, this is my favorite part. The absolute best way to sharpen your understanding is to put two very similar phrases head to head and see exactly how our little rules create a huge difference in meaning. So let the battle begin. Okay, check this out. On the left, it's repaired. The tail ends in ed. What does that mean? It means the job is done. It's a finished state. You can go pick up your car. But on the right, it's being repaired. We slip that little being in the middle and bam, suddenly it's a live action scene. The repair is happening right now, so don't touch it. See the difference? Here is another fantastic comparison. I studied.
That's a simple fact. It happened at some point in the past. It's over. But then you hear, I've been studying. That ing tail tells us about the action, but that word in the middle, been, it changes everything. It adds this whole duration, this long stretch of accumulated time that leads right up to this moment. You can almost feel the long hours that person put in.
Okay, we've broken it all down. We've looked at the theory, we've put it into practice. Now, let's just lock all this in with a final, super simple summary of everything we've just gone over.
So, it all just boils down to these 3 simple rules. 1. Always look at the tail first. If it's ing, it's about doing. If it's ed, it's about being done. 2. The head is just the speaker's feeling about it all. And 3. In the middle, being means live action, right now, and been is like a record of time. That's it. That's the whole system.
So this is what I really want you to take away from all this. The next time you see one of those long, scary-looking verb phrases, don't panic. And don't try to translate it word for word. Just let your eyes scan all the way to the end. The tail tells you the real story of what's actually going on. Simple as that.